Welcome to Co-op Mode, round 120. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I'm one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra from Savage, Minnesota. I'm a traveling man, been to colleges around the globe to get my son ready to go, and joined by the Canadian Mark Carabin, who is having quality time with the family. And you survived.
I did, yeah. A few days up with the in-laws. It was a great little trip. Happy to be home and jumping right into podcasting. So here we go.
Woo! Yeah, we're excited to go. But before we really get into the weeds, just a reminder that this is day 108 of the writer's strike and day 38 of the actor's strike. Really no news on the horizon. We did hear that the writers met with the officials to just talk about what might happen in the future, but nothing new. So once again, these folks need our support. We've donated to the Entertainment Community Organization. There's a link in the show notes if you want to give. It helps those people in the entertainment community help regardless if there's a strike or not. So appreciate that. And once again, we support all the actors. And Mark, I don't know if you saw it, but the visual effects group is actually trying to form a union, which is a big deal for Marvel and Star Wars. All of those folks are hard into visual arts, which we need to create great visual effects. And I know there's been reports that they're overworked, told to make changes last minute. So this is good news that they can raise the bar.
Yeah, I saw something to that effect a couple of days ago. Was someone talking about the work that they did on Iron Man 2, I believe it was. And you can say what you want to about that movie, but the visual effects back then were something stood out. Something felt a little bit more special. And he was talking about the artistry of it, of just deciding. I think everyone kind of knows the shot is like Tony kind of puts on that armor, the suitcase armor for the first time, and he turns.
Oh yeah.
And his head turns. At first they tried to mocap it and it turned like a normal person. And then this guy decided like, no, he's a little bit more robotic. And also Tony doesn't really care about you. So he's going to look at you last. He's going to kind of like, so he turned the body and then had the head kind of turn afterwards. And it was like used in every trailer. It was used everywhere. And that was like the money shot. And he just kind of came up with this. He was like, this is why you need artists. You need time. You need like, to be able to play around with things. He was like, it took me a few hours after I got this idea, but he was like, every single time I showed it to someone, it was like, oh yeah, that's the shot, like right there. And it was just talking about the artistry of people that do that work. And it seems when you're rushing things like that's, Marvel and this and that, whatever, it seems we've lost that kind of spark that kind of blew us away in those original movies and the movies of that era. Like I see people all the time talking about like, how can we go from, Davy Jones or something in Pirates of the Caribbean, or even the original Pirates, like flashing back and forth between real skeleton in that fight scene between Jack and Captain Barbossa. And you see things now and it's just like, yeah, they're just fired out the CG machine kind of thing. And there's no personality to it. So, the more power that they have as a union or whatever, it's I think that's going to be better for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I know in the video game world we were getting, I know testers at Raven Software. I know they were organizing an Activision. So, and Xbox has said essentially we support, our teams if they want to unionize. So, welcome them to the table to really give people. If people are happy, they're going to make better art, and that's really what this comes down. Good pay, good hours, good benefits, and you're not going to be let go after your project's done. That's all people want.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you know what people want, Mark? They want great Patreon content. And that's what we bring to the table for our Patreons. Oh my goodness. And the Patreons we make it for are awesome. We've got Best Bud, Jamie Prinky, BFFs, Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias, Missy Merchant, and Annie Milliken. Oh my goodness. And if you want to be one of those patrons and experience our Patreon content for free, we have a 7-day free trial where you can check out everything we've done. And if you like it, stick around because you're only going to get more of it and it's only going to get better. I, for one, just recorded a great new fansplaining. The most recent one is out with Donnie Reese. We talked about cars. it just went places. It was awesome. Donnie really told some really interesting things I didn't know about him. And then I have a new one coming out all about music with Matthew Keel. It's fun. It's great. Once again, Matt, I try to be a good host where I ask questions that probe people's interests. So I think those are a lot of fun. I'm glad that Patreon gives me the ability to do that. So that's awesome. So there you
Super
go.
fun.
Yes. So check those out. And I just released TMNT Last Ronin, our spinner rack episode, because TMNT Mutant Mayhem's out. So I wanted people to just experience more turtle love. So it's out there on our on YouTube and also on our RSS feed too. So there you go.
Yeah.
So Mark, this one's all you. So I'm gonna let you take it away and Byron return.
I wanted to. So I've been hot and heavy into Pikmin. You're going to hear about that in a little bit. But I wanted to pitch something that we could talk about, basically like critter sidekicks. I didn't want this to be, the main character of something. So the first choice, you can, you might be able to argue it or whatever, but I think they're good as a side character. But this, I didn't want this to be like Donkey Kong or something like that. Like I didn't want it to be like main character energy. So it kind of works as a sidekick. So the first choice is the Rabbids, which again, I think like Mario plus Rabbids or other games, like I think they kind of work really as, and I know they've been main character in a few games, but I think they kind of work in this, because there's so many of them, and a lot of them are faceless. They're just like a horde of Rabbids, and I think they really work as a hilarious, just side character kind of whatever. Pikmin, of course, because I've been playing Pikmin 4 to death, and super cute option, Chocobos from the Final Fantasy series, which have been super cute, have been super chibi, or just kind of terrifying dinosaur bird things. So take which version of Chocobo you want and make it your own.
Most of these are when you think of them and you don't like put too much on them, are also highly disposable. Like there's a lot of
Yeah,
them, so they just die.
yeah.
There's more.
That's kind of what I was going for, really,
Exactly.
is like this just like disposable characters. Like they're not, not
They're
every
a
single one of
resource.
them has a name. There's, yeah, right. Like it hurts me when I lose a Pikmin, and I lost a bunch in my first playthrough of Pikmin 4. But like you can rewind time, but I've been kind of doing like a no rewind run, unless like something catastrophic happens. Like if I
Sure,
lose 100 Pikmin in 2 seconds, I'm like, no, 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 no.
you're screwed.
We're restarting this.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if it's like one here, one there, like we got to move on. So
Yeah.
Todd, how you feeling for this? We got a few answers. Do you want to go
Let's
through the
go into
community
let's
answers
go into the
first? Yeah.
communities first. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll give you Schloss. I'll give you Schloss.
Yeah.
You and then you handle the last two. So Schloss says Schloss Ritter. Thanks, Discord member, Patreon as well. Thank you so much. He says buy chocobos, ride in style, safe from random monsters while listening to an often remixed catchy tune. Work. Try to be my best chocobo. Rent Rabbids. We've all got at least a bit of insanity inside. They just wear it more on the outside. True. They are rabid, folks. It's not just like a rabbit. They are like sick with disease. They're insane. And then Return Pikmin. Nothing against them, but I never really looked into their lore. So yeah, I think that a lot of people, Pikmin is out of a lot of people's wheelhouses. But yeah.
I get that. Don't try the demos if you haven't jumped it. If you have a Switch, try the demos, because like those games, I did not think that I would like when the first one came out, and I've been a huge fan, hooked on the series. Every time there's a new one, I'm like, do I want to get this right away? And then I get it, and I just dive into it and don't play anything else. So they hook you. They're cute, and they'll yeah, they're pretty great. Edward Varnell, buy Pikmin, rent Chocobo, and return the Rabbids. Edward does not need those unhinged Rabbids in his life.
I think they remind
I
him
do
too much
not.
of his customers that come in a little bit intoxicated or crazy.
You know, the world's crazy enough. Do you really need a like ton of just crazy, unhinged, lunatic
Crackheads.
rabbits running around? Yeah, like, essentially. I don't know if you need that. The last one we got, Winter Gamer, Brendan Myers. Buy Pikmin. You can always use loyal workers to help around the house.
True.
Good choice. Especially, you know, young dad. Need all the help you can get. Young kids running around, like pick up the toys, little Pikmin. Let's go. Rent rabbits because I can get some zany stories from the time with them. That's pretty decent. And return Chocobo because it's too tempting to not see what they taste like.
Only he would think about that. I mean, I don't know. That's my first thought. Like, oh, those wings look pretty mighty tasty.
Now here's the thing. Pikmin are presumably kind of plant-based life forms. You pluck them from the
Kinda.
ground.
Yeah.
That you pluck them from the
Well,
ground. They
isn't there a
have kind
rock
of like
guy though?
there is a rock Pikmin, but he still has it's more of a crunchy outer shell. If you kind of read the
Like
description
a
of it,
coconut?
you can still. I mean, the monsters in Pikmin still eat them, so they if you can get past the crunchy outer candy
Like
shell,
a
like a
nut? Like
gobstopper,
a nut? Like a
I
walnut?
guess.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah. You know, once you can crack that, you can eat the innards and have a good time. So if you're considering trying a chocobo, I'm going to guess that would taste something like chicken or emu or something like that, I suppose.
Sure.
Pikmin, I don't think we have any like plant-based life forms on this planet. So I think if you were to, you know, be like curiosity's sake, I'm going to be the first person to eat like a carrot alien thing, right?
Roast some
Like,
Pikmin. See how that
would you,
goes.
yeah, right? Would you pop that in your mouth too? And it's just, I mean, you're just, well, they're tiny. You just pop one in, just be like, yeah, cool. Um, anyway, Brennan, let me know if you're now scared of me or if you too would just like, you know, pick. Also, if you would eat a Pikmin, what color would it be?
The real
We've got
question is,
red.
yeah, I mean, yellow is like a yellow carrot. Blue
Yeah. So
blueberry. I mean, there's not a lot of blue veg. There's purple carrots.
and here's the thing: the red ones would be super hard to cook, so you'd have to eat them raw because they're fireproof.
Uh,
The yellow ones, electric resistance, so you know that you'd be okay with that. The blue ones, water resistant, so you couldn't drown it. You'd have to kill it some other way if you wanted to not eat it alive. Um, the purple ones are just chonky boys, so you could have a time with that. The poison resistant white ones, the rock Pikmin, if you really want a challenge and you like a tough nut to crack, or the little pink flying dudes that, you know, kind of like eating a bug plus a plant. So,
I'm
food for
guess
thought.
and nobody asked if what a rabbit tastes like. I mean, you'll probably
No
die
one
of
wants to know.
like some type of like what is it, mad cow disease or something. Not worth it.
Yeah,
Not worth the risk.
that'd be the next pandemic waiting to happen, I think. Todd, how you feeling on this one?
Uh, this one's a little bit easier than I would have expected. Chocobos. I'm big into Final Fantasy 16 right now. I'm on the last mission. We have a guest coming out, so I'm gonna save all my FF16 talk to her because I'd like to see what she thinks about this topic.
Mm-hmm.
But I love my Chocobo. They are great. They are a mode of traffic or a transit. They are actually off. They can have some offense as well, and they are just adorable. They are beautiful, but they're like an ostrich of death. I mean, the ones in
Yeah.
the FF16 game, they are huge, Mark. Like their talons are beasts. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going chocobos. They're fun. Ride around, and they love you. They are such they're tied to you. So I love my chocobo. You know what, Pikmin? I'll return. Or so I'll rent
Rent.
because they're fun, they're useful, and largely disposable. So I don't feel like anything's lost along the way. You don't really get an emotional attachment to them because, there's so many, you don't get to name them. Now, if they let you name them or put hats on them, it might be a little different, but they don't. So I think they all serve a purpose, and you can always get more. So I think they're worthwhile in the discussion, but you don't get attached to them. So they're definitely a rental, because you essentially do rent them, Mark. You get more. They don't last. They're a resource more than an attachment. And then rabbits, they are just, I think something bad will always happen when they're around. They're like a risk to your insurance policy, Mark. They are going to chew through all of your like cables for your iPad, and they will I don't know, they'll probably leave your refrigerator open so your food will spoil. They'll scratch your car.
Hole
Exactly.
in the wall or the
You tell
door.
them what to do, they do the opposite. Rather than, clean the dog poop, they probably pick up the dog poop and throw it at the house. I mean, they are just a bad idea waiting to happen.
When are you going to start describing rabbits and stop describing life with a 3-year-old?
You know what? Rabbits probably
were. Already have one of them.
Exactly. The creator of rabbits probably said, "Oh, I looked at my 3-year-old, and that's what they are."
The more you were talking, I'm just like, oh, this is just my life. This is
exactly.
I have to buy these now because I have one. Okay. Yeah.
Why did you flush my Wiimote down, or my Wiimote down the toilet?
Finn is getting so obsessed with flushing the toilet. I know. I'm just like trying to hide everything important all the time.
Down the toilet.
Right now, he's just happy watching the water go. That's not going to last long. As soon it's going to be like, okay, cool, keys, let's go. Like the AirPod case. I'm one of these days. It's just
don't get fish. Don't get fish yet.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Good answers. Mine, I can see any of these, and honestly, I was kind of tempted at first to pick the exact same order that you did, because as much as I'm loving Pikmin, I am not 2 inches tall, so I don't know if interacting with Pikmin would be great, or if it'd just be like my house was infested with insects, and
like that bug that was flying around me.
Right. So I don't want that. I'm not sure if the Pikmin were a little bit more scaled to a useful size or something, but like I'd kind of feel bad for them if they were just kind of running around the house and like I'd trample on them, or Finn would trample on them, or something to happen, or I didn't notice them to begin with. So it's kind of dangerous. I don't know. Plus, I thought of that whole eating them scenario, so I think I might be a little bit more unhinged. So I think I have to choose buying rabbits because no one else did.
Is this a guilt thing?
No one else did. I already own one. Might as well get a bunch. They can keep each other entertained. My house is going to get destroyed one way or the other, whether it's just one little Finn rabbit or a ton of them. I might as well have a good time and dress a couple up like the Mario Brothers. So I'm buying those just for the lulz. I'm going to rent a chocobo because I think that's a good summer ride. I don't want a poor little chicken dinosaur freezing its buns off up here in Canada land through the winter, expecting to drive me to work on the ice and snow. Like, I'll just rent it for the summer, kind of ride to work in style, go to the beach, ride in a dinosaur chicken, and I'll be all good and ready to go. And then it can just kind of go, it'll fly down south. That'll work that way. And sadly, as much as I love the game and the series, I have to return Pikmin because I'm scared I'd trample on them, and I don't want that on my conscience. So they can just live in the wild, and I'll still love them, but just not in my house.
So you treated this like if they were real, and you actually had to care for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very house. Interesting, Mark. Very interesting. Yeah. So you chose Gremlins essentially. Don't get them wet. I don't know what happens to rabbits when they get wet. They probably turn into something even worse. Great.
Yeah, my picking of this was like, which of these do I want in my house or around my house, like with a chocobo? Like I don't think that's just going to hang out in the living room, but I'd make it a little pen outside or something, like a little stable, and just that'd be out in my yard, and I'd just be like, all right, see you later, buddy. And yeah.
Yeah, it's like owning a horse, right? I mean, it's like that's a
Yeah,
lot. That's a
exactly. Yeah.
lot.
It's a
That
lot of
is a
work.
lot to
Yeah.
deal with.
A lot
Yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Finn wants a pony. No, we'll show you a pony. We won't buy you a pony.
Yeah. I
It's
got
not
friends that
working.
own horses. Let's just go visit
You
them.
find somebody with
Have
one,
fun.
and it's like owning a truck or a boat or a cabin. You find somebody
Yeah.
that has those things because there's upkeep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, very good. Hopefully, you enjoyed this one, and you can thank Mark for this. And nightmares of these things that we've given you: mad cow disease, eating
That's what I
them.
do.
Eh,
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Bonus question for anyone listening or anyone that wrote in: what Pikmin would you want to eat if you had to eat a Pikmin?
Interesting.
That's it.
Yeah, and you decide. I mean, the purple one kind of looks like an ube, which is a Filipino sweet potato that's purple.
There you go.
Yeah, very tasty.
Maybe that's what they taste like. Yeah.
They probably could. There we go, Mark. And well, because it's Nintendo is an Asian company, maybe Miyamoto was inspired by that. I never know what's the wildlife of
And
Japan.
inspired by gardening, and it was
Exactly.
flowers and the plants and stuff there. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna hit a little bit of news topics. It's been a while since we connected, and actually, one of these is hot off the press. One has been bubbling, and we're getting some reality. So, Mark, Pokemon Presents. That was today.
Yeah, it was. I just watched it when we got home. Loren was trying to get Finn kind of settled down, and I said, "Okay, I have like 25 minutes. Let's try to knock this out." So I didn't watch all of it. I will admit, I kind of skipped the first part when they were talking about the Pokemon World Championships. I skipped over a lot of like the new anime and a lot of the mobile games and stuff like that. But I'll give a quick recap. We got like some updates on the Pokemon Cafe remix for like Switch and mobile. Pokemon Masters EX has the first pairing from the Paldea region, aka Scarlet and Violet. So if you play any of those mobile games, Pokemon Unite, same kind of thing. They're getting a big Mewtwo, Mega Mewtwo kind of seems to be joining the fray, which is neat. Pokemon Sleep, man, that game came out and just kind of fizzled. I haven't heard anyone say anything good about that or the Pokemon Go Plus Plus. That thing's getting ripped to shreds for just like connectivity issues. They haven't solved any of the problems for the Pokemon Go Plus, let alone releasing a Plus Plus version that's bigger and doesn't fit in your pocket. They're still trying to make it a thing, I guess. And then Pokemon Go Fest is happening if you live in any of the places or you want to pay for a ticket if you're still super into that game. I play it from time to time, but I don't get into those kind of big events. Nintendo Switch Online is getting 2 Pokemon games today. So by the time you're listening to this, these are already out. That's Pokemon Trading Card Game and Pokemon Stadium 2. But again, those games were already announced. They just happened to release today. So really, most of this stuff was like updates to stuff that we already knew existed, or release dates or releases of things we already knew existed. There's, like I said, a couple of new anime things or a couple of new animated. There's Pokemon Path to the Peak, and then there's Pokemon Paldean Winds, a new animated series. And then Pokemon Horizons, the series, is going to be the new Pokemon, like the big animated series, I think, that's taking over after Ash and Pikachu have retired. So a whole bunch of stuff there. Some new information on Detective Pikachu Returns. And then the big focus was on Scarlet and Violet, the DLC that's coming there. We got a bigger look at the teal mask and a bit more of a look at the indigo disc. So they're the 2 pieces of the DLC. So part 1, the teal mask, that's going to be released September 13th. So it's sneaking up a little bit closer every day. It's good to finally get some information on that one. I'm going to have to jump on that DLC. I love that game. I jumped back in it today because there is an update to make you jump back in today, which is Mew and Mewtwo. There's an event called Get Mew and Mewtwo. They really, really stressed themselves thinking of the name for that one. But basically, if you log in right now and you go to the mystery gift menu, you can type in the code get your Mew, and every single Mew that is entered, I mean, to whatever variation that the Mews that the types are, but you're going to get a Mew that's a unique type. Every Mew is going to be different. So I got I think Psychic Rock type Mew. I think I looked very quickly. It's a little level 5 brand new Mew. I already had Jason Mews from I forget the name,
Wait,
and
from
it's
Clerks?
no, that's my original Mew. I nicknamed it
Oh
Jason.
God.
Jason Mew. Yeah,
Jay.
yeah. So that's he's been in my game for a little bit, as well as a Mewtwo that I kept over from something. I can't even remember where I got those two. But it's cool to have another Mew, and especially a fresh one that I can kind of train right up and go to from that. So I don't know the nickname for this one yet. It will not be Jason Mews. It will be something else. But yeah, it's kind of cool that it can be. You could have like a fire type Mew or whatever. I think that's really, really cool. And then there's going to be raid battles. There's a big event starting September 1st where you can go and battle and capture Mewtwo if you want another Mewtwo if you don't already have one. Like I said, I have one from Pokemon Home that I've moved into the game already. So I've seen Mewtwo in Scarlet and Violet. I've played around with it already. I've had him on my team. But it's really cool for people that don't, because it's been kind of hard to move things from like the Game Boy games or the Game Boy Advance games or the DS games or whatever to the Switch. So this is a great way to do it if you haven't done all that work through Pokemon Home or the Pokemon Transfer Network or whatever the hell all those things are called. So yeah, great reason to jump back into those games. Um, I'm ready for some more Pokemon stuff. I've been out for a little bit, and I'm gearing back up.
Nice. So I've got a couple of follow-up questions.
Sure.
Todd Oxtra from the Pokemon Gazette here.
Pokesad. Yep.
Exactly. You know, yeah. In regards to this, because of Pokemon, I mean, there's a couple of elephants in the room. Is
Mm-hmm.
Scarlet and Violet had significant performance issues? Do you think with this DLC they will have taken feedback and tweak performance of the overall game in the DLC, or you think like don't care, we made $1 billion, people still bought the game regardless of performance? So that's question one. Question
Mm-hmm.
two is it's been 4 years since Detective Pikachu the movie. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
that was a one and done? And last question is, we obviously didn't get the next big Pokemon game. Is that being held off until the next hardware? So there you go. Those are my three questions to you.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer 1 and 3 kind of at the same time, because I think the answer to 3 is yeah, that's being held off. Because I honestly, I think with the skill level at the Pokemon company, I think that they're not great at optimization. They're great at throwing a lot of big ideas, and there's a lot of moving parts. And I think they just need more powerful systems to handle it. So I think honestly, I think yeah, they're gonna hold off on the next Pokemon for Switch 2. It might run on Switch 1 if those things are kind of backwards compatible or whatever. But we'll get into some rumors in a bit. But I can't see it being like Switch 1 like first. You know what I mean? Like is gonna be a Switch 2 game that might run backward compatible mode or something. But for the first question, I think there's going to be tiny fixes, and they have been doing tiny patches and this and that and whatever, and performance, what do they call it, performance stabilization or whatever you call that. Even in the trailer today, there were some frame skips. There was a little bit of lag. Like they haven't fixed those underlying issues because I don't think they can. There's they might improve frame rate here and there, but I like you're not going to get rid of frame rate. Like the game's just fundamentally too heavy for this system or not optimized enough. I think that it'd be a ground up rebuild, and I just don't think they have the time, patience, energy, or desire to do that. Um, I think you kind of hit part of it on the head, which is, they sold 8 million copies. Do they need more? If they put, let's say, whatever, $10 million into fixing this thing? Are they going to see the return on investment in an uptick of sales? Or is it going to be like, all right, we just chugged in whatever $2 million to fix these problems and we got $50,000 more sales? Like, I don't know, who cares, right? Like, it is what it is. It sucks to think of it that way, and that's a very business perspective of like, that. But I mean, that's what it is. It's a business, right? So I I was able to overlook, that was my game of the year last year because I enjoyed it. I was able to overlook those technical difficulties and problems. My brother and I talked about this maybe a month ago, if that, about how he still can't. He grabbed my Switch. We were hanging out, and he was just like, "Is this better yet?" And he grabbed my Switch, and he was like, "I really want to get into it, but I can't get past this." Um, I ignore it because they're fun and cute little monster games, and that's it. But I totally get it if you can't, 100%. So I'm part of the problem. I don't know what the solution is aside from a Switch 2. For Detective Pikachu, the movie, I think that specific story is a one and done just because of how it ended. I don't know if you could bring back that character. I don't want to spoil too much if people are looking at the game and just kind of like, hey, maybe I should check out that movie. Um, I don't know. I'd love to see more live action stuff. I don't like if it's the same characters and like the character still exists, but not exactly in the way that it was through the first movie. So maybe there's something there where there's a bit of lingering power there and someone can understand it, or there's something, but um, super tough to pull off because that was such a self-contained and finished story by the time it was, it was all wrapped up. So I don't know. Tough, very tough, but I'd love more live action stuff. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm curious if that, that's a challenge because I really enjoyed that movie quite a bit. I love what they did on the screen. Obviously, Ryan Reynolds would not be coming back in that.
I mean, he could, but
He
like it would
could, but he
be
would exactly. He would
him.
be a person. Yeah,
It's like spoilers. Okay, so spoilers, like turn it off, skip ahead a minute or something like that. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want spoilers, but like by the end of it, yeah, Ryan Reynolds and Detective Pikachu are separated because Mewtwo or Mew or whatever it was
undid.
combined them
Yeah,
in the movie,
yeah,
and that's like to keep him alive. And then by the end of it, he undid it, and that's why his son could hear him and understand him. And I think that's kind of where the second game might be going. Like they seem to combine the first game and then write the second game in the movie. So yeah, like the only way you could do it is either have Ryan Reynolds himself back with a Pikachu that maybe he can understand because at one point they were linked. So now he has like
yeah.
a psychic connection because he like, spent time as
A
Pikachu or
buddy
inside
cop film,
or something.
Mark.
Right.
Yeah,
But only he can understand it this time
exactly.
instead of his son.
It's like Chewie
Um,
and Han. I mean, come on.
Right. You could bring back his son and have Ryan Reynolds and his son are like frustrated, kind of like the show Ghosts. I don't know if you ever saw that, but
Oh, Ghost is great.
um, yeah, amazing show. So like the wife can see the ghosts, but the husband can't. So it's constantly like, hey, who's in the room? So that can be kind of fun to play on. But like as far as Pikachu talking as like Ryan Reynolds' voice, like not happening again unless they just. I mean, I say not happening again. It doesn't make sense for it to happen again. You
Yeah,
could easily write like, "Hey, Pikachu drank a weird cup of coffee that made him sound like Ryan Reynolds, and now they're going on another adventure." Like anything's easy to write, but like to make real sense in this world, like the detective is out of the Pikachu. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
they're not. They're yeah. So um, tough to pull off.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it was a great
ridiculous.
gateway. It was a great
Yeah.
gateway into Pokemon because I think that's the thing because there's already anime as much as you want with Pokemon that is
Yeah.
for the fans, but for a
Mhm.
broader audience doing something live action, I don't think you can go deep into like the really geeky stuff if you're gonna do something
Yeah.
mainstream. I don't know. Maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll do a CGI version because of
Yeah.
their partnership with. I don't know. We'll see.
It's really tough to adapt like even like the anime or the first few games into a movie because it's kind of like a 10-year-old boy just kind of like wandering off into the wilderness with crazy monsters trying to attack him. And it's like, why does this exist? Why is that lizard breathing fire? And why is it his pet? And why is he fighting grown ass men in the woods? Where is this person's parents? Um, so it's kind of weird. But you could do something like Scarlet and Violet, where it's kind of like a Hogwarts castles type
Yeah.
situation. Like this is where they go to school, and they're just kind of like boarded there and whatever, and you have your different like houses or whatever. Like you could do something like that maybe and make it interesting. But like, yeah, Pokemon's like rife with problems if you just try to adapt most of the games.
Yeah, I mean, you could try to do Arceus, where you're like at the beginning of the things and documenting all the
Right.
Pokemon, but you're missing out on the Pokemon battles, which a lot of people love. So I don't know how you do it, but eh,
And they're
Nintendo's
problematic too, right? Like it's
yeah,
you're anytime I play Pokemon, like I kind of try to disassociate myself with it because my wife always brings up a great problem that it's like just cockfighting the video game. And I'm like, stop saying that because it hurts. And I don't like it. But I mean, essentially, that's kind of like it's just like, okay, cool. Here's an electric mouse. Let's make it fight a rock with arms.
and breed
See
them.
which one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't give. Yeah. Don't. Yeah. Um, at
We'll
least that's
see.
nice. They're not
Yeah.
being lit on fire or drowned by a giant sea dragon. Um, it's just there's just problems all over the place when you take it out of a digital realm of pixelated little monsters. Yeah,
Well,
problems.
Nintendo knows people in Hollywood now, so we'll see what they do.
Yeah.
Because obviously they've made a lot of money in this. It'll be interesting to see where they go next. Really, but you have no shortage of Pokemon entertainment if you're into anime. It's there. So then we're going to move on to what swirled last week was Switch 2 rumors, or whatever we want to call it. We're hearing the Swiiitch. I've heard many different things. Super Switch. Call whatever you
Sweet.
want to the Swiiitch, because you got a Wii U in there. Call what you want, Mark.
Yep. Switch
Um,
U.
exactly. So the official, like, there's some folks who have predicted and heard rumors before that have gathered some information what they're hearing. Nate the Hatist specifically has been the one that's kind of corroborated Andy Robinson's information at VGC. Essentially said Switch 2 will sport an LCD screen, which will be 8 inches, which will be bigger than the current Switch, and then which is 6.2 inches, and this OLED was 7 inches.
7. Right.
Exactly. And it's supposed to still be a hybrid portable type device. That's kind of what we know. And apparently, there are now dev kits in the wild, which would say, yes, people are starting to work on this. And then Nintendo always said there wouldn't be one this fiscal year. For them, their fiscal year goes
Mm.
to March 2024. So after that would be, think of like April to, once again, March of next year. That'd be fiscal 24 for them. My company does a fiscal, I'm in fiscal 24, 23. I'm in fiscal 23, and that goes until May, and we start that way. So we're half year. We're not a calendar year. It's very weird. Companies do weird fiscal things for getting their results. So with that, we know that also that apparently there's supposed to be more onboard memory, which would be
Oh,
512
fudge
gigabytes
balls.
of storage space compared to 32 gigs, which is just crazy. That is like half of that's like a quarter of a Call of Duty. It's just insane. And it just was never reasonable, specifically because the Switch was a heavily digital system for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the LCD screen versus an OLED means probably cost cutting, which is fine. I think unless you're seeing them side by side, you don't really notice. It's not a big deal. Um,
Yeah.
and other than
The
that,
only
yeah, go ahead.
the big issue with that is people wanting to upgrade from an OLED, and it would feel like a downgrade if you're used to the OLED Switch. Uh, Unless you're comparing them, but if you're super used to that, and then you go from a very vibrant screen to kind of downgrading to like a bigger but less vibrant, but like it's a weird compromise. I wonder if that means they'll have a Switch 2 Pro at launch, and this one that they're describing is a base model. Because otherwise, it might, like for someone like myself, it might feel like a step back in
That's
certain respects.
That's an interesting proposition because the last time Nintendo launched two systems at once, which was the Wii U, they had what was it, an 8 gig white, or no,
Yeah,
black, was it white?
30,
And
32
then they had a
white, and
32.
then black was at
Yeah,
32.
and then there was I think a $50 price difference between them. So, and I don't think many people actually had that 8 gigabyte system. I mean, there was not many people who did. So it's
Mhm.
probably a collector's item in the Wii U realm. Um,
Mhm.
it'll be interesting because the Steam Deck is an LCD screen. Nobody complains. It's like it's a horrible screen. They said it's good enough. I think, and I have an OLED right now, a big one. I love it, but I went over to my friend's house and he's got a big LCD. I honestly think it's a lot of people hand wringing for not much of a difference in regard to it. LCDs will be brighter too, so if you're gonna take it outside, OLED is not great for outdoors because it's not bright enough, so you get that screen. So, in the big picture, I think that's where Nintendo would say, we'll get you an OLED in 3 years when we want to get more
Mhm.
sales." So I could see that market. It's probably just because I don't know how high Nintendo wants to go. 350 is the highest they've ever gone with the Wii U. I don't know if they want to go 350 to 400 for their launch system to get sales at first. That keeps a lot of people out of the equation. Um,
Mhm.
and obviously, they can obviously iterate over year with, like, we got the Switch Lite, we got the OLED. So I don't know what they'll do with this one and what the actual plan will be. We've seen some mock-ups and renders, which I thought were absolutely horrible. I'm like, I don't understand the point of this these mock-ups, because it's like it was a smaller dock, but then the Wii the Joy Cons were like a weird inlay within like a unibody switch where you put them
Mhm.
in it, but they were still there when it wasn't there. It was a really dumb looking design. I'm like, who thought this was a good thing? So, it's going to be interesting because the biggest
Mhm.
question, the elephant in the room, is, will this be backwards compatible? Um, I think everyone fears it won't, but I think
Yep.
people are like, why wouldn't it be, considering the amount of money and effort people have put into their Switch library? This is the best library Nintendo's ever had, bar none, because almost like every game they've ever made is on this thing. And to
Mhm.
just say, you're going to start again, we're going to start Nintendo, I just don't see it happening, Mark. They would just look like the biggest bunch of idiots, and they would look like Uncle Scrooge. Basically say, pay us all again for Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Plus or Deluxe or whatever they call it, you know?
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, that's the issue that they're facing now, and the world that they're facing now is that's expected. It's really expected. You can't launch a Switch 2 right now. Like that honestly to me would be screaming another Wii U style failure. Like I think you would have people up in arms and like, I'm not buying Mario Kart 8 again. Like pound sand, Nintendo. I'm done. Like I'm the Switch is good enough. You already told us that you have games coming out for at least another year. We saw some of those. There's an untitled Princess Peach game. Like, give me a title of that one before I'm even considering chalking any more money over to a system that can't play all these games that I've invested hundreds, if not more, worth of money into over the past six. By the time this thing's out, 7 years, right? Like, I can't imagine them doing that. One of the tipster in this did claim it will use cartridges like the Switch, but it will be in a new format of cartridge. So I'm still thinking that that's going to be a DS to 3DS type situation where there's going to be uh, there's going to be games that can only run on the 3DS, but all of your DS games work in that system. And I think it's going to be the same thing. There's going to be, let's take the new Pokemon game as an example because you mentioned that before. The new Pokemon going to be one of those new carts with a little notch on it that you can't fit inside a Switch 1. But Pokemon Scarlet 100% will fit inside a Switch 2. That has to be the way they do this. Has to, because people expect it now. I could throw this phone in the ocean and go get a new one, and my Apple Arcade games are still there. I could do the exact same thing with my Xbox, and all my games are still there. I it just it, digital and like your libraries count. they
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 do.
have to continue, right?
That's
Like it's
Apple's model. Apple's like, you're
Mhm.
on our ecosystem, but everything will carry forward to a certain point, and then it just like our
Good
devices
point.
just won't
Yeah,
support it. Um,
right.
and there's
Yeah.
if Nintendo thinks people just are gonna like move on and not be happy. Of all of the console fans, Nintendo fans are the ones that are so passionate about the past and want to carry that forward. And Nintendo
Mhm.
has supported backwards compatibility before. And so
Yeah.
it just seems silly, especially now where things are digital and they have your purchase history. And PlayStation was so good at it until they stopped, and then they got so much crap about it. Xbox has
Mhm.
made it a big sales pitch. And Mark, I don't think just because you could buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch 2 isn't going to preclude people from buying Mario Kart 12 or whatever it's called now, because I think mobile is 9, I think officially, or something like that. I think it just means that people will buy both. And it's never going to stop them. People like double dipping. They like to play the old and the new. I mean, if people could buy Super Mario Brothers Brawl, they would, or Melee, they would, because they
Mhm.
want to play that game. But they'd also buy. So I think Nintendo is just. I hope they've learned to say that Nintendo will continue to sell new versions, and if they want to double dip, they can do it this way: Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Deluxe, but it's going to include all the DLC. So you buy it for
Yeah.
$60 and you get the DLC versus $25 extra. Same thing with Mario Kart. You're going to get that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Plus, whatever. You get
Mhm.
all the DLC brought in, so new buyers can just get one package. And then we'll still sell you a Mario Kart 10, and people will be happy with it, because there's going to be things in the new Mario Kart that people like, I didn't like that changed. I like 8 Deluxe better, so I'm going to play that. So
Yeah.
I think it's a win-win, and you could get a little bit of that double dipping for a certain point, where they'll have games that cross, like Breath of the Wild crossed, and that didn't hurt sales,
Mhm.
did it?
No.
People moved on, and they're like,
Yeah.
good. And that library is not going away, so they can still sell Switch Lights and things like that, still sell those games, but people will move on. And Nintendo fans are freaky. They'll buy 18 versions of the Switch too,
Yeah.
and buy multiple copies. I mean, think about it, Mark. I mean, how many Switches do you have in your house, and how many copies of games do you have on those that are duplicates because you need them for each console?
Mm. Only a few. Anything multiplayer. There's two Switches in the house.
Do you have
And it's a
two Tears
selection
of the
of games.
Kingdom, or do you have one?
Two because we
Hmm.
wanted to play at the same time, but that was a
Exactly.
rare exception. That was a
And
rare
when
exception.
and when your little
Most
boy gets
single
old
player games,
enough,
yeah,
you're gonna
most
have
single
3
player games we
copies of
do on
everything.
the yeah, most single player games like that we do try to get cartridge or something we can
Yeah,
share.
yeah.
Um, it's only like the multiplayer games, like Mario Kart's a great example of like you need multiple copies to run this. Yeah, we're getting multiple copies. Um, but most other things, yeah, it's just hey, do you want the cartridge today? Yeah, I'm playing that Lego game. Give me that one.
Mark,
Um, yeah,
Mark, you have a toddler. You should
I know.
not own anything that will get lost. My teen, I think he's lost the games a million times. I finally found them again. You will not buy another cartridge because it will get lost, eaten, thrown away, flushed down the toilet. Your little rabbit doesn't care
Yeah,
about a cart coming out. He'll throw it out because he wants
yeah.
to play something else. He'll chew on it a little bit. Does this taste good? Oh, Daddy, it sucks. It tastes
It doesn't taste
bad.
good. It doesn't taste good. No. Yeah.
I think one thing they didn't mention here is, will the taste of the cartridge be different in the new system?
Mm,
Will it be like
who
urine
knows? Maybe
flavored versus vomit flavored?
even more bitter. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this will be interesting. I think they played it so excellently last gen, where they launched it in March when they were just getting the devoted folks. They built up their inventories, got a lot of games ready for launch, and by the time fall came around, they satisfied the hardcore and they had inventory for the mainstream. If they launch this thing in the fall again, that's a nightmare. That's a
Yeah.
nightmare. That's a lot of sad kids not getting a Switch 2
Yeah.
on Christmas, Mark.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Very
Um,
true.
have we come up with a name yet? Have you came up with a name for the successor?
New Super Switch Deluxe 2 XL. I want something that easily rolls off the tongue.
All right, I like
Plus
that.
plus.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with It's 512 megabyte or gigabytes of storage. So I'm going to call it the
Mm-hmm.
Swiiitch 512 because
Ooh,
that's
very
dumb.
nice. I like it.
Yes, yes, very good. So excited for this. We'll see where it's going to go. It's going to have to happen. They're going to have to put out a new console, and we're just waiting for it. We'll be on our hands and knees. I remember how much excitement there was building from the Wii U to the NX to the original announcement. I think in January is when the hordes of excitement get unleashed. They'll tell us about the system probably early in 2024 after they've got all their holiday sales in, and they'll start building the hype.
Yeah, I think you're right on.
All right. So, folks, if you have your thoughts on either the Pokemon news or Switch 2 rumors and what you would call it, let us know. So, Mark, we've gamed. You've gamed. You're on vacation. I'm guessing you were playing lots of Diablo 4.
No, I have not played anything other than Pikmin 4. It has completely consumed my life. Um, just absolutely. I just, it's one of those perfect little games where you can easily, you can just, it's, no, I'm just going to play one more day. Right. So the Pikmin games, for anyone like that hasn't jumped in, I know Slosh Ritter said he hasn't. So for anyone that hasn't jumped in, Pikmin, you're stranded on this planet and you're very tiny and everything's enormous. And this planet looks very much like Earth if it's not Earth, whatever. But and so your companions are these little Pikmin who are even tinier than you are. And you have to find pieces of your ship or your shipwrecked crew or whatever the little MacGuffin is for this specific game, and you have to get back to your ship by nightfall with all of your Pikmin or as many as you can, because at night bad things happen. Now in this game, you can actually play at night, and the nighttime missions are fun and very different. And you get a brand new type of Pikmin, which are kind of like ghost Pikmin, and they're green and they're delightful, and I like them. But the main bit of this game is the days. You have a certain amount of time. The timer's always up in the top left hand corner, counting down. You get a notification ding when you're at noon, and you keep playing until nightfall. And it's like, get back to the ship, bro. And you got to run. So that structure of like, no, just one more day. Or you always find one more piece of treasure or see something new in a new area that you just unlocked. Or there's always something where it's like 1 a.m. and I'm like, I gotta get up in a few hours, but I just spotted something. I need one more day. I can knock it out. And then it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, I hate my life, but one more day. And that's what this has done to me. And I finished the game
Oh,
last
really?
night. Yep. But there's a post game. So there's like a big post game. It's not just like you can go and re-explore the areas and do some stuff. There's a lot of story and there's new areas that only open up post game. So there's like a whole bunch of stuff that I'm still working on. I don't want to give any spoilers out, but the post game really opens up. It's really exciting. It's worth going back. So that's where I'm at now, is all the post game content. And yeah, I really thought like the game, I thought I was just going to finish it and it was going to roll credits and I was going to be like, that is a really neat game. I'm going to replay this. But for now, I'm done. And then it's like, nope, here's like essentially what feels like a ton of DLC.
Wow.
Only it's built in post game content. And I'm like, holy, like this
That's
game just keeps on
awesome.
giving. I
Is
love it so much.
is that the Dendara battles that I've heard about?
No,
Oh.
they're just in the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's a main part of the game. Like, so
Okay.
the Dandara battle, whatever they're
Yeah.
called. Uh, yeah, you just do those at different points. You meet these like leafling characters, which are actually just spacemen that get infected with some sort of leaf virus or something, and you eventually kind of find a cure for by doing night missions, actually, which kind of ties back to what I was saying. Um, but yeah, each time you do that, yeah, you're given like a specific set of Pikmin. You can't take your crew in. You're given a specific set, a specific challenge, and you have to do it within a time limit or a certain amount of points, or beat one of the other Pikmin. You're going head to head to try to gain more points in a certain amount of time. They're always new, they're always exciting, and some of them are very, very challenging. Even if you're like me, I've been playing Pikmin since Pikmin 1. It's an
In-
amazing game.
Interesting, because that's where I've struggled with Pikmin. I like being in the world. I like having enjoying the view, and I'm a little bit more leisurely. So
Yep.
I always feel like, oh shit, I got to go back to the ship. I don't want to, uh,
Mhm.
and it drives me nuts. I'm like, I hate time limits in games.
So there are a few good things that they do with this one to make the
Okay,
time limiting a little less annoying. The first one is you don't have to always run back to your ship. As long as you have the Pikmin with you, it counts as you're good. So
okay,
if you're all the way across the stage from your ship and the timer's counting down, as long as you have them all, or you have a dog companion, as long as you're all sitting on the dog or you're all in one group,
okay.
that counts. That's good. So they get
Oh,
rid of
good.
a little bit of that panic
That's
of like,
nice.
oh shit, I can't go too far away from my ship. Another great thing they have is you can move your home base across the stage in a lot of very good, well placed, like it's specific points. Like they make the points for you, but at any given point, you can, as long as you've unlocked that position, you can move your ship. All the planet, all your Pikmin go with you. Everything goes with you, and moving those around, if you see something and you're like, oh shoot, I really want to explore that, chances are there's a new landing zone pretty close by that you can move your pod there, plant it. The day will still end. If you're super annoyed by that, I don't have any good news for you. It's still a day by day structure. But in this case, I found it helped make this game a little bit more bite sized, even if I don't have the self control to take the hint of going to bed because the day ended.
Yeah,
But for me, it was kind of like that perfect mobile game kind of hit where it's like I can jump in for 3 minutes or I can jump in for 3 hours, and there's like a little bit of that structure. And but the moving the bases around really really helps exploration because every time you explore a new area, you unlock something. There's going to be a new home base that you can move everything to and start off a lot closer to your new objectives than starting at the same end of the map
yeah.
every single time and having to book it across and waste half your day booking it across the map. And yeah, it doesn't work quite well that way. Um, I am going to. I'll give slight spoilers right now, if you don't mind, because you are gonna So anyone that wants absolutely no spoilers for post game content, like let me skip 30 seconds here. All right, you've been warned. 3, 2, 1. Skip 30 seconds. Okay. The part of the DLC or the post game content is you're playing as Captain Olimar, who you've rescued, and
Oh, okay. I
it's
thought you were Olimar in
him.
this. Not you're not.
No, no,
Okay.
you're rescuing him the whole game, and then at
Ah,
the
okay.
end you rescue him and you go to him to recount the way he crashed on this planet. So for that one, it is very old school. 16-day time structure or
Oh, okay.
14-day time structure. The days go by quicker. You don't have a dog companion right away. Everything's kind of spaced out. You don't have all the powers. That has been a rush, very stressful. You're using all the skills, and I have 2 days left, and I'm nowhere near the complete set of ship parts that I'm trying to collect. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But that one reminds me way more of classic Pikmin
Sure.
games
Like roguelite.
than most of this game, but completely optional.
Okay.
There's still a ton of like post game content that I can do that doesn't include any of that stress or any of that time crunch. And at any given point, I can restart that, learn what I've learned, know the structure of the maps, and I can just go back from the start and have that story restart itself and just go, boom, here's a ship part, boom, here's a ship part, boom, 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 boom. And like, if I did that right now, I think where I'm at day 2, I think I could have all this stuff done and still have maybe 5 or 6 days left, just knowing what to do and where to go. But again, completely optional. Didn't like, you know, not something you have to worry about. Like the main game, way more chill. I
Ooh,
really really enjoyed it.
I like hearing that. I like when developers say we have ways to make this game satisfying to all uh people who are interested. The hardcore who want like I want to be brutal. I want to see those Pikmin die and I want you to have to freak out like you said, Mark. But I also want the people like I want to encourage people to explore, enjoy all of the beautiful artwork and just the joy of these Pikmin. That's what I was liking. I didn't like when, oh, I can't enjoy this anymore because I have to worry about that. It's that stress that distract me from it. The good news is there's like a 4 hour trial for this game and your progress
Yeah,
saves. So
your
that's why I'm like,
progress saves
I
up.
can wait on this game because I'm like, I can play that demo and that'll tell me if I like it. I'm assuming that's enough time with the game. I'll know if
Oh
I'm
yeah,
in or not.
for the most part, yeah, that
Okay.
should be a pretty good indication.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 hours should be plenty, I'd say.
Perfect. Yeah, I like that. And
Yeah,
I like the fact that they continue to evolve. I mean, this is a series that never has sold much, but it's Miyamoto's baby. That's why it keeps coming back. And I'm glad that they keep iterating on it and making it something for everyone who are so passionate about it. And they just released was it Pikmin 1 and 2
Pikmin 1 and 2 as a bundle. So this is
Yeah,
one of the few series that you can get every single game on
on
Switch.
Switch. And it's the
One and
best
two
versions of them.
either Yeah, 1 and 2 either separate or as a bundle. Pikmin 3's been on there for a little while, and now Pikmin 4. You can get the entire, aside from the weird little 3DS spin-off, but I don't count that,
Hey,
but like
Pikmin,
every
yeah.
single mainline adventure is ready to go on Switch.
Yeah.
It's the perfect place to play because for me, the last couple of weeks, like being on vacation and this and that and whatever, I've been trying to get back into Breath of the Wild, and for some reason that feels like a TV game to me,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Um,
Absolutely. You've got a lot of
so,
busy work and
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so playing that on the go, and especially where I'm still going through the story of Tears of the Kingdom.
Mhm.
Once you finish the story and you're just kind of exploring Hyrule, I think I can do that a little bit more tablet wise. But like that's a story that I want up on the big screen. I want that as
Absolutely.
big and bright and crazy as in my face as possible. Whereas Pikmin, I could play it handheld or I can pop it on the TV and it doesn't really matter because it just like I said, it's those little bite-sized chunks. So I might play a day handheld and then plug it in and then take it out. Like I've been playing it. It feels like a perfect Switch game.
That's great. I'm
Yeah.
happy to hear that. I like I said, I don't know when I'll get to play it. I mean, there's just too many games coming out. It's kind of a crazy year, but I like this is there, and all those games are there on Switch. So if I get busy and I'm like play the demo, I'll be excited to try it out. Especially because they added a dog. Why not? They added a dog. Come on.
It's adorable. I love the dog.
Perfect. So very good. So Mark, an update on my gaming life. I finally got rid of the gaming laptop. It was giving me fits and churns. I had a friend come over. We reapplied thermal paste to all of the things, took the laptop apart. Crazy thing that I only had for 3 years. And it's too much effort. I couldn't even game anymore on it. So I ended up deciding to uh, my work. I had a very good year with work. We got a bonus that went towards the laptop or my new PC build. I built a
Good.
PC with my son last year, decided to build my own. The build went great. I got all my specs. I kind of gave myself a budget, went over a little bit, but I'm loving it. I love it. It's got RGB everywhere, Mark. It's crazy. It's got glass side panels. It's really cool. Love it. So that was fun. And then I went. I always like resell my PCs and things when I get done with them. Uh, it died on me. The new one, I refreshed it, put Windows 11. Something happened. It would not even start, would not even charge. I don't know what happened. I think I know why it happened. I don't want to divulge the idiocy of Todd. Let's just put it this way.
Okay.
I probably
Okay.
did it as I was
Okay.
doing certain things, but I
Okay.
ended up finding someone who wanted to buy it for parts. Went well, got some money out of it, so that was good. I don't want it to go in the landfill. I found somebody.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so we're good to go. But I built this new gaming PC. Mark, it's ridiculous. And when people complain about Xbox Series X and PS5 not being able to do 4K 120. I'll just tell them
Yeah.
I spent $600 on just the GPU. So that
Woo.
tells you right there. That's more expensive than the
Mercy.
old card. And that thing
Totally
can
there.
only
Yeah.
do 1440p. That can only do
Wow.
1440p. Now it can do 1440p at like 120 frames or 130.
Sure.
So it's crazy. It's a beast. And it's got like this DLSS3 software, which
Cool.
does
Cool. Yeah.
essentially AI frame interpolation, which is amazing.
Yep.
And the next Switch, apparently, if it's still using NVIDIA hardware, could
Sweet.
use DLSS, which would
Mhm.
really take some heavy lifting off the hardware and put it into the actual software, which is great. So it's a cool PC. It's really neat. 32 gigabytes of RAM, the most RAM I've ever had in a system.
Yeah.
It's got a 2 terabyte 990 Samsung SSD, which is great. I can put a PCI 5 SSD, which will double the everything. That's coming eventually, maybe in the future, but it's awesome. It's cool. It's fun. I had so much fun building it. And so I'm like, you know what? I didn't really get to play Cyberpunk, and I wanted to play that on a PC because I want to be close to
Mhm.
my face, a lot of
Yep.
text, so I want it to be as big as possible. So I ran it on my PC at the highest resolution, ray tracing, everything. I got like 100 frames per second, 1440p ultra. I'm like melting my eyes. I'm
Hell
like,
yeah.
this is amazing. I love it. It's
Fantastic.
awesome. I got myself a new mouse that has RGB, of course, in the wheel. Why not? It's
Yeah,
RGB.
absolutely.
Everybody can't get enough RGB.
Never.
And it's great. I'm enjoying it. It was so easy to do. And I'm just enjoying the experience. It was great seeing my son doing that with my son last year, doing it with myself. Building a PC this year was great. So I've been really enjoyed that experience. It's the perfect time to build a PC. It's super easy. There's YouTube videos. There's PC Part Builder, which is a great thing. If you want to know what I did for mine, I can share my PC Part Builder link.
Cool.
Obviously, it's whatever your budget is. Stick with the budget. You can get like FOMO, like I need to do this. Whatever you do you'll be happy. And if you build a system, you can always upgrade if you want. It's really awesome. It's so much easier than when I built my first system back in 2001 when there was no YouTube.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
was I was ordering
Mercy.
parts, figuring what would work. Not everything was compatible, and
Mhm.
it was a pain. And this is even when Amazon really wasn't a entity, Mark.
Yeah.
So
No, this is like pre-smartphone, everything. Yeah, that's
oh, it was crazy, and you were doing a lot of like hoping and praying that it worked, and when you didn't know
mhm.
it worked, it was painful. But now it's the perfect time. It's so much fun. So I'm enjoying it. I'm really excited to get back into Cyberpunk. The game is in actually the best spot it's ever been. That DLC is coming out this fall. The expansion's coming out this fall
Right.
with Idris Ilba. So I'm very excited to actually get into that game. So my son already beat it, so he's trying not to spoil it for me. So yeah, excited about being back in
Awesome.
the world of PC gaming. And actually, with my CPU, I got a code for Starfield, so that's where I'm
Oh,
going to play
cool.
it
Wow.
because it's like the premium edition. So it came with it. I'm like, perfect. I'm
That's
good to
great.
go. Yeah, unfortunately, right now with Starfield, it's Play Anywhere, but only if you buy it on a Microsoft-owned platform,
Mm.
which Windows, I cannot figure out why Microsoft cannot figure out their like having a gaming store.
Mm.
Steam knows how to do it. Why can't they? It's horrible on PC. It's like you guys can't figure this out. I would love to do that because if you buy it there, you get a copy on Starfield on PC and Xbox on the Xbox Microsoft Store, whatever we call it, and then you get
Right.
cross save. Right now,
Mm.
though, if I play it on Game Pass and I play it on Steam, there's no cross save. It's weird. They've just got to figure that out.
Sucks.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a mess. But I'm very excited to do that as well. And obviously PC are kind of unlimited because right now on I know on Xbox that game it's going to be limited to 30 frames per second
30.
4K, and that's it. That's your
Yep.
only option. On PC it's the Wild West, Mark. I can do whatever I
Yeah.
want. They can't make me do what I don't want to do. So I'm excited to see what I can do with that to have a great experience. But other than that, Mark, an update. I have given up the ghost on the RG35X. Don't know what happened to it. It's gone. The Gremlins got it, but Mark, I got another Ambernick handheld
Ooh,
that is a
that is
vegetable
fancy.
that's it's an alphabet soup. It is the
Yep.
RG353PS.
Mm.
Lots of letters too.
Mm.
Essentially, there's a P version, which is actually dual booted Android. That's the only difference. On the P,
Oh,
you get
okay.
Android and Linux. On the PS, you only get Linux. That's the
Mm.
only difference. I've heard the Ambernick does not do a good job with Android, so that's a good
Okay.
thing. Even though it's more flexible, it just doesn't work very well.
Right.
So this one is pretty cool. It's looks like a Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
It's I think it's the same screen as the 35X,
Okay.
but it adds little analog sticks, which are great. It also adds in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which I haven't tried out the Bluetooth, which maybe means I can use wireless headset. The internet's great because then you can update the firmware, do those things as
Mm.
well. It's kind of cool. But other than that, I think it might have a different processor. But other than that, I mean, it's just really cool. You got like dual USB-C ports, one for charging and one for directly connecting to the PC. It's got an
Interesting.
HDMI port like the other one does.
Yep.
Oh, geez, so Pete.
And
I'm
now it's
gonna break
broken.
it. It's broken. Yeah, it's got dual stereo speakers. It's got
Yeah.
an audio
Oh,
port,
cool.
dual
Nice.
SIM card. So it's very similar like to the RG35X.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it supports up to Dreamcast, which is great.
Oh,
And
cool.
the analog sticks help with that. That was a big thing with
Yeah.
me. When I play PlayStation, analog sticks would help with certain games. So it's really cool, and it's interesting because the 35X, I don't know what it is when I got it. It's pretty bare bones, as you know, and you put on
Yeah.
onion,
Garlic.
was it garlic on it, which
Yep.
makes it much better. This one, the Linux is much better. It's like the interaction. It
Mm.
adds like actual console graphics and things like that when you're going through it.
Oh, wow.
Scrapes the images of the ROM, so you can see pictures of the art. So I don't know if they just have that's a new thing with them with their new interaction, their new iteration of their software, but it's really cool. And the ROMs that are included are really awesome. And it's funny
Nice.
because there's N64s included, Mark, and they have a
Oh,
game. It's Turok, but they don't call it Turok. They call it like Dinosaur Hunter something. And I'm like, but it's Turok. It's so
so
dumb.
that may be. I heard one thing that they do with the stock. Like I replaced all of the ROMs on this thing. Like
Yeah.
these are all mine, right? Like the but I heard the ones that are included are from all different regions. So that could be like a UK variant or a Japanese variant or something like that of like where they renamed Turok. Kind of like in Canada, we renamed like Beast Wars, like the old Transformers cartoon. We renamed it Beasties because war was too violent.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunter. So it's a little different. I saw it. I'm like, that makes me laugh. But yeah, it's great. I mean, it's got Game Boy Color support, GBA, Nintendo DS. I don't know how that works. Something called Open Bore. I don't know what that is, but Skeletor is on it. So that means it's legit. It's weird,
That is so
but
cool.
it's cool. I'm excited to try out more of it, see what it does. But I'm loving it. And the surprise was it supports PSP. So I was playing Tekken 6 PSP version on this handheld device, and it was wonderful. I was really impressed. It played great, looked great. I didn't know Tekken 6 was on the PSP, and I love Tekken, so
No.
it really was awesome. So I'm excited to do more with this. I'm going to play around with it, see if there's more themes, more art, other things like that.
Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunter is its own game. That is not
Oh,
Turok.
it's not Turok, so I should load it up and see what the hell this thing is.
Yeah, that is a completely different franchise.
Oh,
It was on
so
the
weird.
PSP, PS3, Android, and iOS.
What?
Um, yeah,
What is this
interesting.
thing? Is it like one of those like light gun shooters?
D- I don't know. I'm just kind of reading a Wikipedia entrance. That's the fifth game in the Carnivores series.
The fifth game? Where have I
Is the
been?
like Dinosaur Hunter is the fifth game in this series. So it sounds kind of like a Turok type game, but it's definitely its own thing. So it's not even like a
It's
renaming
weird.
for something. It's yeah, it's completely. You start out hunting dinosaurs. Um, and you start off hunting like herbivores, and then you get to some more like carnivore dinosaurs who go on the offensive, and you have to fight back. So
Oh wow.
try that one. Let me know how it is. That
I'm
seems
very
like
excited to get into the fifth iteration of this game
yeah,
series. Oh my god. Yeah, it's a great little device though. I like it. It's got these weird little like rubber things on the back, which I just didn't understand what they are, but I guess it helps it not
grips.
slide.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's a really cool little device, and yeah, I'm excited because I'm not tied to like that Game Boy type form factor like you are. So for me, this feels like more like in my wheelhouse with the analog sticks, a little broader.
hmm
That makes me very happy. So and I got it for like 71 bucks.
that's
So
fantastic.
I love it when they're coming out all the time. So there's always new iterations. So don't worry about hopping in. Go in. Oh,
Mhm.
actually, Mark, when I booted up, it is Turok Dinosaur Hunter. They lied.
Is it? Oh,
It
that's hilarious.
is. Yes,
So
they don't know
weird.
what they're doing. Yes. Yeah, and all of the
Fine. Put my
games
own ROMs on.
exactly. I'll call it whatever I want.
Yeah.
Avoid those copyright protections. That's what they're trying to do. So I'm excited about this. If anybody has any tips and tricks, I've heard there's a new launcher, Mark, that is supported on Embernix. It's called like Arc something or something. Heard it's awesome. Like it's like
Cool.
over the top, man, fantastic. So I'll see if that's out there, and I might give that one a try. So that's what these things are all
Interesting.
about. They're like homebrew, so much fun, just a really cool way to go. And I was just having a blast. Played at the dentist office, wait for my son. So while I get a filling.
Yeah. That's yeah. Half the fun of that is like modifying it, making it your own, kind of like that little homebrew hack kind of thing. It's like it's fun playing the old games, but I also just like messing around with the system and seeing what I can break and modify
The
and
art
like
and just playing with the front end,
change.
and
Yeah,
yeah, you can download the artwork, which is nice, which is really cool. Yeah,
yeah,
and it's portable. It's actually portable.
yeah. I have to mention we just got a late entry to the Byron return, and I have to read this because he agrees with me. Famous Seamus writes in, buy Rabbids. They're basically the video game equivalent of Minions, but they're kind of cute, and I know I'll have some zany adventures with them. Seamus got my back with the buying rabbits. Rent Chocobo. They're cute, and I get to ride on them. I would just worry about how to take care of one. Very similar things. I swear I didn't feed him these. And Return Pikmin. I've never played a Pikmin game, so I have no familiarity with them. And second, they're so tiny. The most they can do is slowly move stuff around or kill bugs. I never thought about the pest control
Yeah,
option.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm. All right. Well, I'm not going to return and change my answers, but like, that's a good option. Seamus, thanks for writing in.
Very good. And of all the people I would have expected to play Pikmin, would have been famous Seamus.
He should really try that out.
Yeah, give it a try. Play the demo.
Pest control. Man, that's so good. Okay. Yep. All right. Let's move on.
Yes. Okay. So moving on to the bonus round. This week is a little bit different. We weren't sure what we want to do for a topic, and we're going to play a game. This game is something I believe we've done before, Mark, but it's been forever because you're like, Todd, what was this game? It's called Pitch
Yep.
Meeting. So essentially, we're our young developers, Mark. You and I are both running development companies. We're going to make a game, but you don't get to choose the top. Basically, you don't get to choose the setting, the genre, the mechanic, or the name of the protagonist. That is
Yeah.
chosen by the publisher. You're essentially work for hire, hired gun. So the way this is going to work is I have set up those four criteria. I've created like names of settings, different
Mm-hmm.
genres, mechanics, and names of the protagonist. Mark and I have identical lists, but they are in different orders. So the cool part about this is I will have my list, Mark will have his list, but I get to assign Mark a specific one. Mark gives me a number, basically 1 through 12, or 2 through 13, because that's what's there. And then once he gives them to me, I will give him as assigned setting, genre, mechanic, and name. And then he has to pitch me on the game based on those criteria. He can also, there's bonus points if he chooses a developer in the style of the game he'd like to make. He can choose the console or platform he'd like it to be on. And those are just bonus points. But he basically, as long as he gets to the four, pitches the idea, we'll see if Mark gets a contract or not. So, and same with me if Mark chooses to be kind and approve my idea. So, Mark, you have your list. I have my list. So, would you like to pitch your idea first or second?
I, you know what? I think I'll pitch first.
Okay. So, I'm going. You give me a number
Do I
for
pick
each category.
numbers? Okay.
Give me the number, two
Yep.
through 13,
Okay.
because I have it set up that way. So 2 through
Yep.
13 for each one, and then I will assign you the name of each. So go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna go with 4.
Okay, for setting.
Yep.
Number 4. Okay, great.
Okay.
Let me just mark these. Okay,
Okay. I'm gonna go
that's the setting
11
for the
for genre.
genre.
Yep.
Okay, so that would be. Oh God, you're gonna love this one. So
Okay.
that would be genre. So
Yep.
mechanic. What would be your game mechanic?
Mechanic. I'm going 2.
Oh boy. You're going to love this, Mark. And the name of your protagonist.
9.
So 9. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh boy. Is that right? My number counting's bad. Let me, because the problem is I have this like one, the top row is not the right number. So,
Okay.
okay, there we go. Okay.
Well,
So
you
I've
can
got,
give me like the no. Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
I've
that's
got
that
yours,
then.
Mark. Okay. So Mark, your idea for your
Yep.
game has to include the following setting.
Okay.
Flower Valley is the name of the setting.
Okay.
The genre is rhythm game. The
Okay.
mechanic is building. So think of like I don't know, some type of like Minecraft or something like that, I guess is the best way to put it. Although it's crafting. I don't know, building. I'm trying to think. Would that be like SimCity?
Building. Building. Yeah.
I'm trying to
Crafting. Building.
think. Is
Yeah.
that
Same kind of
right? Okay. If you
similar kind of thing.
disagree, don't like this, we can re-roll it. We can try again if you don't like it.
Now, building, I think, yeah, would be like crafting, building, kind of like
Okay, because
building things up,
crafting
like
is its
building a
own
city, kind of.
mechanic. So if I
Oh,
don't
okay,
have
no, so
another
like building, yeah,
like a
SimCity,
Sim City. Okay.
something. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with
Great.
that. Okay,
Okay. And your protagonist name is Nadia Lance.
Nadia Lance. Okay,
There you
all
go.
right,
So that is your criteria. Everything else is
yep.
up to you to pitch your game.
Okay, uh, so I have this. It's set in Flower Valley, and it's a rhythm game. It has to do with building, starring Nadia Lance. Correct?
Correct.
That's all my stuff that I have. Okay, so this is, you know what, this is pretty straightforward. It's kind of right in itself. So this happens in Flower Valley, and the whole purpose of the game is the flowers have disappeared from Flower Valley, so they have to either think of a new name or they have to bring the flowers back. So what do? You hire Nadia Lance. She is the best gardener. She is a nymph, like a little a wood elf, kind of like Tinkerbell type thing, and their magic power is to make the flowers bloom when they dance. So rhythm game. The more you dance, the better you do. The more flowers bloom and start to build back up the garden, which is actually a city where other elves, nymphs, and woodland creatures and critters kind of live, based on these blooming buildings that pop up the more you dance. So the better you do, the more you dance, the better you build up the city. Um, if you screw up, the flowers start to wilt. The more you do, and the valley, Flower Valley, turns more into Death Valley, and you do not want that. So Nadia Lance has to dance her little wings off, and yeah, and that's kind of how this game goes. It's pretty simple to get a hang of, but hard to master like any good rhythm game. There's a lot of nuance to it. Every time you think you've got it down, you can you can either play this with a controller, do it that way, or we're bringing out the Flower Valley dance pad, which is like a DDR pad, but it's shaped like a flower. Obviously, it has different pedals, and you step on the different pedals to do different dances. And it gives you a lot more direction, a lot more danceability, where you can dance on different pedals and kind of spin around, 360. That's the real way to play this game. That's the way you want to play it. But you can, if you need to play it with a controller, adaptive controller, or something like that. We don't want to exclude anyone, but if you can, if you're able to, the dance pad's the way to play this. It is going to be developed by Activision after Xbox buys them. This is going to be their new Guitar Hero with help from who does Fable?
The new one? Are we talking
The
Rare? Or no, we're talking the new studio is Turn 10, right?
Turn 10. Okay, so they're going to be developing this on the side. Or like something like that, or like Playground Games maybe.
Oh yeah, Playground Games. Sorry, Turn 10
Playground.
is
Okay.
Playground Games does Forza Horizon. Turn 10 does Forza Motorsport. Yep, and they're doing the
Okay.
new Fable. Yep.
Okay. So Playground Games is going to help with this, and in addition to, like one of the Activision studios that like would own GarageBand or whatever, like bring that kind of that pedigree back. So that's what we're doing. It's an Xbox exclusive. It's going to take place, maybe even in the Fable universe, and it's an offshot
Oh,
in Fable, because there's magical little woodland creatures and stuff like that. So this could be a Fable story, but this is going to be an Xbox exclusive rhythm game. Really throw you off.
do you have a title for your game?
It is just called Flower Valley.
Flower Valley. Nice.
Fable,
Flower
Flower Valley.
Valley.
That's
Nice.
I'm sticking with the Fable tie-in. It's called Fable Flower Valley.
Oh, I like that. And then, since it's a dance game, Mark, who will you have to license the music from?
It's gonna be, um, medieval covers of pop
Okay.
songs.
Oh, I love
It's
it.
gonna be, medieval covers of pop songs, or like what's it, like the Ragnarok, like the like Elvish metal bands.
Okay.
Could be that. Could be a
Like
little bit of that.
I think of the Alan Wake band they had where it was like a bunch of like Scandinavian guys
Yeah,
making like
Glory
weird.
Hammer style.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. That's gonna be this. It's gonna be medieval covers of pop songs or like Glory Hammer. Um, yeah, that's the soundtrack for this one.
Nice. It makes me think of like Shrek when they'd have like the
Yeah,
band in
100%.
Shrek.
That's the vibe.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Love it. Love it. I can see it in my brain, Mark. I just see it.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, with Fable's theme of like the fairy, acting crazy. Love this.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
job, man. Good job. I was like, it's gonna be a rhythm building game. Like, oh, good luck.
It just started. I went, the name just kind of kept building on it as you said things. It was just like, yeah, okay, I can make this work.
Excellent. Good job, man. I'm excited for this. I mean, this is a winner. I mean, I think of
I
like,
think
oh
so.
my goodness. Oh, I gotta
I want
bring
this to
in
be a thing. I want,
bring in Double Fine that they can add their sense of humor and yeah, go well.
right.
Is that
I gotta
collaborative?
clip.
The collab, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just gotta clip this and send it to Phil. That'll be fine. I'll send
I've
him that.
saved everything in Guards of Mark. I've got your design doc right here.
Perfect. Perfect.
Exactly. You're good to go.
Let's
Uh,
go with yours. Let's keep this going. Come up with another
Okay.
amazing game.
Okay. For setting, I'm picking 6.
Okay. So am I? Yeah. All right. So are you going 2 to 13, or is this 6 actually 7?
No,
How
I'm
did you
going
do that?
to. If it makes it easier,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, if you want to look at row, you can do row 7.
Okay.
If that easier,
It
I can
doesn't
do
matter.
row.
It's whatever you want to. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
pick 6, but it's row 7. I mean, if that
All right.
makes it easier. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Math's hard,
Okay.
man. So you got
Well, I just
that.
wanted to
Okay.
know how you did it
Yep.
because I was, I just want to
Yep.
make sure it's the
Okay.
same.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Row. So I'll give you a row from now, and that'll probably make it much easier. So setting
Okay.
is row 7.
Yep.
Genre, I'm going row 10. Mechanic,
Yep.
row 2. Name, row 9.
And 9, you said?
Yes.
All
Okay.
right. Okay. So you have picked. The game is set in prehistoria.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm just marking these in my
Yep.
thing. Hold on. I'm going to color code them. Okay, Prehistoria.
Okay. It is an adventure game.
Okay,
That's the genre.
adventure. Okay, adventure.
But the mechanic is cooking.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
appreciate that. Yeah, okay.
And your character protagonist's name is Joey Handshake.
Joey Handshake. Folks, I came up with these names because I'm like, I want the dumbest names in the world. So,
I like it.
okay. So, wow. So, setting prehistoria, genre adventure, mechanic cooking, and name is Joey Handshake. Adventure is like one of the worst genres for like specificity because it's like, is it just puzzles? Is it like uh, a text adventure? Is
Right.
there actual combat? It's like, what does it even mean? It's like the lamest when it comes to
Yeah.
the word. It's an adventure. Isn't everything an
It's an
adventure, Mark?
adventure. Yeah, that's
Everything's
it.
an adventure. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's see. Okay. With that, okay, I will build you a story that will sell you 1 billion copies. We're
Let's
gonna
go.
go. So this game, you're set in prehistoria. It's man and dinosaur. This is a cusp of the discovery of fire, hand created weapons, and um, surviving the wild of saber-toothed tigers and also dinosaurs. That's prehistoria in a bag for you. The adventure is all about um, discovery. It's discovery of yourself and the world around you because the world is scary. Everything is going to eat you or kill you. And you can eat everything or you could die from everything. So you have to be careful. And because of the world, it's a world of open delicacies, of danger and deliciousness. You could die or you could enjoy. Who knows? And Joey Handshake. Don't know how you got that name as a caveman, but you know what? But I know how you did because
He was the first person to do a handshake. He
Joey
invented it.
Handshake is a man out of time. He
Oh.
he is a space traveler through time and space. He's in the future. A space experiment goes wrong, and he goes back to a land that he is the most intelligent man in the room, but he has to adapt to the rules of prehistoria. He has to use everything at his disposal. And what do we find is the best way to make friends and influence people is through their stomachs, Mark. Joey Handshake just happened to be he just happened to be a line cook at a Denny's. I don't know what maybe a Swiss Chalet in Canada. Joey Handshake was great at it. But he also had, I mean, that's what he did to get through his, his job through college. He supported himself before he became a great scientist and joined, a think tank to get into like theoretical physics and make time travel happen. So now he's got to use his line chef skills with all the land around him, all of the things, the unknowns of his landscape. He has to understand what he can and cannot use. He has to learn how to find what he can and can't cook because there's a lot of extinct things in our time that are alive and well in this realm. So not everything is known if it could be delicious, but deadly, Mark. So
Right.
Joey Handshake has to essentially build a restaurant in prehistoric times. Think of like Fred Flintstone, where he would roll up in his car and buy the big like rib. Joey Handshake is now the creator of a
The McRib.
restaurant for exactly the McRib for his prehistoric friends. But the adventure part is he has to search out and find ingredients that he can make. And he has
Mm.
to figure out how they go together. And along the way, he makes friends. He finds out people that are really good at harvesting, growing crops. He actually teaches them on what you should, you know, create and farm, because farming didn't exist. So he's kind of exactly bringing civilization to the masses. But there are dangers, Mark. He has to navigate predators, separate tribes. So he has to understand building cuisine and compassion with nations and meeting in the middle. He has to understand how you can milk things that probably shouldn't be milked because he needs dairy. It's an unknown, Mark. I mean, have you ever had saber tooth tiger milk? We don't know. It could be
Only
delicious.
once. Yeah.
Joey's gonna figure this out. He's gonna document it, and the end result is at the end of this game, you get crafted a cookbook, and that is your reward. And that is the game. This
All
game is
right.
going to be called Joey Handshake's Adventures in Prehistoric Cuisine.
I like it.
We're gonna get if you remember that game, it was the I can't remember the name of the game, but the developer that made that game that's gonna actually do the coding that did that game, it was like basically it was a chef based game, but you would go through the dungeons to get all of your consumables, your proteins and your vegetables. That will be the developer of the game. I can't remember the name of the game. It was on Switch. It was a really cool idea. It was kind of like you're a chef in the day, and you've got to go into dungeons and kill things for your meat and your vegetables at night. So they're going to be my developers. This is going to be a Switch exclusive for the first year, and it's going to be on the eShop, and it's going to come out in 2024 on the Swiiitch U.
Perfect. I'm trying to remember that.
Delicious Dungeon, maybe.
Anyway, yeah. Okay. That's I like that idea, man. That sounds like I like the cooking with prehistoric and hunting your own food. That is an adventure and a half.
You know, why not? And apparently, there's more cooking games with dungeons than I thought. One's called Dungeon Munchies, Mark. I don't think that's the one. But if I
Is it
figure out the name
Battle
of the
Chef
game,
Brigade?
yes, that's the one I'm
Battle
thinking
Chef
about.
Brigade. Okay.
Yeah, it was basically like spelunking at night and cooking during the day.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome. Switch
Joey Handshake.
exclusive. It threw me off with that one. I'll admit that.
Well, you got to stir the pot with a touch screen.
Oh, all right. Yeah, those mechanics coming into play. I like that. That's cool.
Well, very
cool.
good. So, you know what, folks, if you've listened to this, if you've got connections with the console creators and you think these ideas have merit, put us in touch, because Mark and I have trademarked these ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like trying to think of like different prehistoric meals now, like like a T-Rex burger and like
pterodon omelets, come on, pterodactyl omelets, I guess. Yeah, exactly. All those chocobos, those are probably prehistoric creatures, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Which dinosaurs had feathers? We're gonna find out. Like, let's
exactly.
go.
We're gonna eat everything, and if that's a good idea or not, we don't know. Rabbits probably are like evolutionized creatures that have just evolved, that have never evolved, and they're exactly the same through the rest of time.
Yeah.
There's so many of them, they just die and they don't evolve, but they just keep dying, keep living. Yeah, they reproduce quickly. Yeah.
The perfect creature. Everything is rabbits. Forget everything is crabs. Everything is rabbits.
Exactly. Oh, well, I hope you everyone enjoyed this game. It's something we could probably bring out every once in a while, just to break out the monotony of just the news and kind of like what if. So good job, Mark. You played the game well.
You as well.
Excellent. So Mark, we are wrapping up the show with that. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Threads mostly, as well as in our Discord. I am not on Twitter very much anymore. You can find me everywhere as _Canardian.
Excellent. And Mark, I did tag you on X or Twitter, whatever they're calling it. There's a Pokemon cruise.
Oh,
Just let
Cool.
you
I'll
know.
have to check that out. All right.
Absolutely. Robbie Bobby Miller pointed that out. I'm like, that's all Mark right there. Charlie goes
Yep.
on Trek cruises. You should go on a Pokemon cruise.
That is something I would definitely be able to convince my wife to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can follow me on Twitter or X, still at Txtra. I'm on Threads, Solo Secret Friends Unite. So please follow us there, because we'd like to transition to a different service if possible, looking for more followers and people that are cool in the world of social media. Also, secretfriendsunite.com and patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, and also our Discord are all the places you can find us, because our old outro still has none of that information. So we'll get that one updated eventually.
Gotta update that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So thanks everyone for joining us, the journey of the video games and all the things that we love in that world. So thank you, Mark. And remember, folks, it's always better to game together.